Hey guys, this is Corral Cooper with On the Black, and I'm joined tonight by Taryn Cooper, Mets blogger for multiple blogs. I'm not even sure how to intro you anymore.
Well, my main brand is Gal for All Seasons and KinersCorner.com. So those are the two main brands that I'm blogging for these days, and you can still find me on Metsmerized and Daily Stash. I almost
Yeah.
forgot about it, but I'm the travel reporter there, and I haven't been doing as much traveling as I wanted to this year.
Yeah.
So,
Right. So let me ask you this, and I'm going to put R.A. Dickey to the side because he's probably the obvious choice, but surprisingly, from a positive standpoint, what's been the most surprising thing about this team or player from a positive standpoint besides Dickey? Because I'm sure
right.
he would be the answer.
Yeah, I would say it's a tie between the pitching staff. That encapsulates Ari Dickey,
Yeah.
but I really wasn't expecting much from Johan Santana, and
Mm.
I am so glad I was dead wrong about him this
Yeah.
season. I mean, so far it's half. We're almost halfway through. Take it as it comes, but also the emergence of David Wright. I didn't think he had it in him.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, he should be the captain, he should be a leader. I'm like, whatever. I always thought David Wright was a good player. I'm not going to knock him. Glad he's on the team. I never really saw him emerge as the face of the franchise simply because it was thrust upon him.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to say, he's really been embracing this role, and he has just been outstanding this season. I don't know if it's less pressure because Reyes is gone and there's less of a distraction. Or who knows, maybe Terry Collins is kind of giving him free reign in the clubhouse. You don't know what's going on there. But I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised. It's unfortunate that the Giants fans kind of, decided to come out and vote after the All-Star game. It's like, seriously? I mean, there's no reason why David Wright should not be this NL starter for the third base. But hey, whatever. We know he's an all-star. We know he's like a true breakout MVP guy, and
Yeah.
I'm very pleased about that as well.
Yeah, same here. And, I've always said that I think this is like really the first year where Wright doesn't have sort of a veteran presence in that locker room that's, overseeing everything, if you will. I mean,
Right.
there's no Cliff Floyd there. There's no Carlos Delgado there. There's no Beltran there. So, I mean, it really is his team. So it's glad to see him taking that role on. So.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then from a negative standpoint, again, I'm going to put the bullpen to the side because that might be the obvious choice too. So outside of the bullpen, from a negative standpoint, what's been most surprising?
I would say probably Lucas Duda's, that's another tie. Lucas Duda and Ike
And Ike
Davis.
Davis, yeah.
Those were the two I would say coming into the season I was the most excited about. I wasn't expecting, however much of an adverse effect it might have had on his health. The valley fever with Ike Davis,
Right.
from what I understand, it kind of manifests almost like a mono. I've had mononucleosis. I don't know if you have, but honey, let me tell you, you don't want to do anything. So the
Okay.
fact that he was out there every day says a lot to his character. Suffice to say, I'm glad that they didn't, demote him. Some of the minors figure his stuff out or whatever. But, I'm glad that, they had the patience for him. They really couldn't lose his defense, which was a
Yeah.
big part.
Yeah.
But then, on the other hand, with Duda, I've been very pleased with his bat. Is fielding. Ooh, he needs to go to the Daniel Murphy School of Defense or something, like take whatever Wheaties or whatever Daniel Murphy's taking. I mean, Daniel Murphy has really been focused. He's really, changed his defense in the infield. But Duda, I don't know where his head is most of the time. So I would say, those were the two players I was most excited about seeing, but they've fallen short so far. It seems like Ike Davis is turning around. Lucas Duda remains to be seen if he'll ever grow into that right fielder role.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would put Ike there and Duda there too as well. It's amazing to think that this team is in the position that they're actually in. When you talk about having the worst bullpen in baseball, Davis was struggling. Duda struggling, Bay again struggling. With all that going on, and they're in the spot that they're in. It's just it is amazing, and hopefully they'll continue that in the second half. So we'll see. We'll
Agreed.
see. Yeah, yeah. So tell me about you're running in the New York City Marathon.
Yep.
You're raising money for the Tug McGraw Foundation.
Yep, that's right.
Tell me all about that.
Well, 2 years ago, my good friend Sharon Chapman, who is a huge Mets fan, and she's kind of fun. She's got a funny situation in that she's about 45 minutes outside of Philly,
Mm-hmm.
and she's pretty much equidistant, I would say, from Citi Field and Citizens Bank Park. So she has both fan bases really embrace Tug McGraw. Played for both teams,
Mm-hmm.
you got to believe, and all that. But Mets fans really love Tug for their own.
Yeah, he's ours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Try telling the foundation that, though. Everything they have is red. So we're like, more blue and orange. But she really leaned on the Mets community 2 years ago, and she ran the marathon and raised significantly over what her goal was, leaning on people like Greg Prince from Faith and Fear in Flushing, Karen Rose from Mets Girl. A lot of people focused on, making sure that she got there.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, wow, this is a really great cause. And, I thought I was always on my bucket list for the New York City Marathon. I knew it would be a long shot for me to get in the lottery. So I thought, well, you know what, if I'm going to run it, I'm going to do it the right way. And I'm going to, raise money for charity. And Tug McGraw Foundation was a logical fit. And, before I knew it, people were really rallying. But then, something really struck us in the off season when Gary Carter died from brain cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And Gary Carter was my hero from the 80s. He was my favorite Met. He always will be. I was devastated. I knew it was coming. And as you know, on Kiner's Corner, Cults of Mets Personalities, we had the luxury of interviewing him before he got sick. And that probably, I probably could have retired from Mets flying after that. But, all of a sudden, the Tug McGraw Foundation, I knew I wanted to run the marathon this year. I knew I could definitely get a spot with the charity. So it was a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
So, I plan on, not only will I be wearing the Team McGraw shirt, I also plan on doing something in Gary's memory as well. When I run. But like Sharon, I've gotten a lot of support from the Mets community. So I really kind of took a passive approach, and I'm at 70% of my goal. So, my dad is putting together like a little blues concert to help me raise funds. That's not until September. Until then, I've got a gap. For those of you who don't know, the Tug McGraw Foundation raises funds for people who are either suffering from brain cancer, are in brain cancer remission, or have had traumatic brain injuries, and help them live better quality of life. And they also help promote such things as brain cancer research. And, going back to Kid and to Tug, to Mets icons, they won championships with the team. They really identified with Mets fans, and Mets fans identified with them. It really hits close to home. And, I had an uncle who passed away from a brain tumor. And so I have a friend who's also running the marathon, and she's, her father had a grand mal seizure last year, and he's been through several surgeries. So, it really makes you see how lucky you are. And it'll also, see how many people are actually affected by things. Like I've had people send me emails saying, I had a brother, I had a sister, I had, grandfather, whatever, somebody in their family, so a very good friend, fill in the blank, who's been affected by brain cancer. So I figure 26.2 miles, it's the least.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I had a sister-in-law that passed away a few years back from brain cancer as well too. So no, I definitely know what families go through in dealing with that. So yeah, definitely. So it sounds like a great cause. What are you doing to train for this? Because I tell you, when I just think of like the New York City, I just get tired even thinking about running that distance or even walking it. So
right. Well, it's funny that you mentioned it. Last year, on a personal level, I was just in a funk. I wasn't exercising. I wasn't like really doing. I had like a terrible job. I didn't, really feel like exercising. And my friend Sharon, the one who did the marathon, said, maybe you should think about running a race with me, just to get yourself out there. And I kept getting sick. and I was miserable and I hated it. But I thought, if I ran two 10Ks, that's a half marathon. And, like I said, I've had it in my head that I want to do a marathon. But I said, I'll do a half marathon. So I've done two half marathons. I'm probably going to do at least two more before the big one.
Okay.
So half marathon, 13.1 miles, no biggie. However, training for a race in November. Okay, I just started this week. You notice how hot it is out there?
Yeah.
It is brutal out there. So, there's a lot of hydration. There's a lot of electrolytes. There's a lot of carbs. It's funny. There'll be at least one 20-mile run in there somewhere. I think that will be in September, hopefully when the weather's cooler.
Yeah.
But there'll be, some races. There'll be some long runs. The longest run I've done outside of a half marathon was a 10-mile run as a training run. So there's probably a good 4 days a week where you're running, 1 day a week where you're cross training. That could just be, walking, boxing, biking, whatever. So it's really intense. I'm definitely up for the challenge. I ran a half marathon in March. That was my last one. I think I have one at the last week of August and the first week in October. I think that that will be my last one before the biggie, the first weekend in November. But from what I hear, though, what people tell me is that there are two races. There's the 20 miles and then the last 10K, which is 6.2 miles. And there's also, I hear through Brooklyn, the energy in Brooklyn, where, they run through, that just carries you all the way to Manhattan. And Manhattan is really the home stretch if you think about it. And, when I saw Sharon running it 2 years ago, we saw her maybe with about 3.5 miles left, and she was just like, I made it this far. So I guess that's the mentality that you have to do. But this is going to be, I'm pretty much saying right now, it's going to be a one and done for me. It's just going to be, I've always wanted to do the New York City Marathon. It's always something I've wanted to do. I'll probably still do the half marathons. They're kind of fun depending on where you run them. But yeah, it's brutal out there running. So I've got, luckily I've done, I'm used to doing 6-mile races and stuff like that. So it's just a matter of me getting used to how hot it is out there.
Yeah. Well, we are definitely all pulling for you, and I know I am. I hope you do well in it. I hope the weather's nice that day as well too.
Let me tell you something, Carl. I have had great weather karma in this year and change that I've been running. Like, there are days that it should be sweltering and it's been like beautiful, overcast, which are really great running conditions. As long as it's not like torrential downpour, you're good.
Yeah.
I am convinced it's snowing. I'm convinced it's snowing on marathon weekend. Mark my words. But, I'm just getting that out there. Yeah. Usually that weekend is very nice, so fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Yep. Tell everybody where they can go if they want to make a donation and help support you in this.
Can you see this?
Yes, can definitely see it.
bit.ly.com/the Coop fundraiser.
All right.
It's a lot.
/the Coop fundraiser. Okay.
Yep. It's easier than the active.com link I have. It will link out to the active site. But, they can take credit card or they can email me. They know where to find me. galforallseasons.com has my email on there. If you want to make a check donation, I can certainly accept them. They just need to be mailed to me.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, hey, Coop, thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Good luck with the race, and I will definitely be keeping tabs on you throughout the summer and leading up to the marathon to see how you're doing. And for everyone, please go and support Coop and her cause and make a donation. And let's catch up some point in the second half of the season. Let's see how this team's doing.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Thanks, Coop.
All right. Thanks.